Good afternoon. This is the news that should be. Moscow has said it questions the legality of the French airstrikes on an ISIS training camp littered with American weapons. The French media have replied stating that the attack was in self-defense due to Islamic State attacks in France that were intended to kill people. Campaigners for a fairer Britain have taken this precedent and are now asking if they can kill Ian Duncan Smith and David Cameron, because clearly their benefit policies have been put in place to rid the country of the poor by denying them benefits and starving them to death. A spokesman for the Campaign for Fairer Britain said, "What's the difference between killing someone with a machete whilst wearing a mask or doing it from afar in a nice suit by removing people's lifeline? The result is the same in both scenarios: death." IDS was unable to comment because he was apparently sharpening his machete that was given to him by David Cameron to use only if the culling of the poor via the benefit sanctions takes too long. Ian Duncan Smith is to run around the streets in any town he chooses, looking for poor people to scythe them down. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that the US-led coalition in Syria need to understand that only the Syrian people are entitled to decide who should govern their country and how. Putin went on to say that David Cameron of the UK is only talking tough about Syria and saying that al-Assad has to be removed because he needs to be seen to be acting tough, due to David Cameron now being an international laughingstock over Piggate, and is trying to gain some credibility back. A spokesman for David Cameron said that he may well have a liking for dead pigs' mouths, but at least he has more hair than Putin. Staying with our PM's lust for dead pigs, David Cameron said he will not sue Lord Ashcroft for revelations about Piggate, because apparently David Cameron is too busy running the country. As thinking people will realise, this is complete tosh. Cameron just doesn't want to expose in court other little places he likes to poke his winky. Mark Zuckerberg announces plans to bring Facebook to refugee camps. Zuckerberg said that by bringing internet access to camps, there will be increased connectivity which can help refugees maintain links to family. Abdul, a refugee who's been in a camp for over a month with his family, said that he was delighted that Facebook was coming to the camp. He went on to say that he can now post his Candy Crush scores and see how many likes he gets for pictures of his very thin family. As the film crew were leaving the camp, Abdul asked if Zuckerberg was going to bring any food or water, stating if not, could he eat Facebook to survive, just a little piece at a time? Abdul seemed disappointed with our reply. And finally tonight, Jeremy Corbyn's direct democracy has been in action for the first time. A referendum asking whether Katie Hopkins should be fed into a meat grinder offered an amazing response, with 98% of the 40 million people responding saying yes, she should. So Katie Hopkins will now be fed into a meat grinder in Trafalgar Square in October, and be the first person publicly executed in Britain since 1868. There is even talk of our hereditary German dictator, the Nazi-saluting Queen, attending. There is talk of Katie Hopkins' meat being turned into burgers to feed the refugees in Abdul's camps, but it's unsure yet if the meat is contaminated by her own words. That's all for today. Goodbye.